Hey guys, alrighty, so we're gonna watch the second part now of this alien abduction video, because alien encounter story, because I love to hear it, and you guys are my friends. I said you guys are my friends, so we gotta watch this together, right guys? So that's what we doing. All right, so okay, ready? Like Freddy.
Sounding too crazy. So to my alien abduction story. Let's get right into it. I'm gonna try to say this part without sounding too crazy. So forgive me if I need to try to find the words, because it does sound kind of outlandish. So picking out where we left off, the wall opened up. And the gray alien walked over to the opening in the wall with the baby in its hands. And another being walked into the room. Another being walked into the room, and it was a fucking praying mantis. And it was like 8 feet tall, and it was like human size, like everything was big and proportional, and it had the arms with the claws and the shit. It was a whole ass bug, y'all. It was a whole ass bug the size of a linebacker. I'm not even lying. I'm not even kidding. And as a kid, like, I never even had any reference to create that type of shit in my mind. I didn't. There was a praying mantis that walked in, and it didn't say anything. It walked in, and it had a cloak on. It was a cloak. It was a long cloak that went down to the floor, but the cloak was like this velvety looking texture, and it had all these different like colors and stuff. It looked like the cosmos. It looked like all these different colors and swirls and galaxies and stuff like that, but it was just like on the fabric, but it was like holographic, you know? It was weird. And the alien went and handed the baby to this being, this praying mantis. And I watched it grab the baby and hold it and look down at it and look up, and it turned around and walked back out the room. I was freaked out, to say the least, because it was the whole praying mantis. It wasn't like, oh, it was a human that looked like a bug. No, okay. And sorry. And this is when the experiment started happening on me. And there was a taller gray alien, gray-green alien, whatever. And there were shorter ones around the bed that was working with it. It seemed like the taller one was in charge. None of them were saying anything. It was very surgical, the way that they were moving about things. Like, they had a job, they had a purpose on what they were doing, and they were making sure they got their job done. And the first thing was the needle in my belly button. Long needle. They stuck it in my belly button. And I felt that. It hurt. But I couldn't move, and I couldn't cry or anything. And it was like that for probably about 2 minutes. And then they pulled it out. And then it was my eye. It was this eye. And they pulled this machine over top of me. It was a big square machine. And it kept like, doosh, doosh, doosh. Like it would drop down into little squares. It was like these squares would drop down out of it. And once it got to the smallest square, it was like right above my eye. And then there was this long needle that came out. Okay. So while they put this machine over top of me and the thing was coming down, they grabbed, I saw I saw a table. I remember I drew it out and everything. I drew out all the little tools that I saw. I drew out what the room looked like. I drew out what they looked like. I drew out everything before. And there was a little a thing, like a table, a rolling table or something beside the bed I was on, and it had this tray of like different tools and stuff. And they grabbed this one that looked like, sorry, this shit is making me nauseous. They grabbed this tool that looked like an eyelash curler, and they put it in my eye, and I held my eye open. It went in and like held it open. And then they grabbed this green goopy stuff that looked like slime now, like how people like play with slime and stuff, but you know, we didn't really play with slime back in the day like that. And it was like this slime, and it was this green color, and they grabbed it in this little scooper, and they splattered it on my eye, and my eye went numb. And by the time my eye was numb, the machine was right over my eye at this point, and then all I felt was a puff of air on the rest of my face, but it was the needle shooting out of the square. It was like, it shot out of the square, and it went straight into my eye. And it went in so quick, I couldn't even like see it. I just felt it, and I felt it here. I felt it. I didn't feel it go into my eye, but I felt it going through my brain. It's like the initial impact, they didn't just like stab it in my eye. It was like the initial impact was like a tsh, and then they just slowly pushed it, and it went all the way to the back of my head, and I felt it. Oh my God. I felt it in my brain. It hurt so bad, and I couldn't move, and I couldn't cry, and I couldn't do anything. And I felt it in my brain. I felt it pushing through parts of my brain and cutting things. And I heard it on the inside of my head. I heard it tap the back of my skull. Like once it got to the back of my skull, I heard it hit the bone. And I was freaking out because I'm like, okay, I can't move my eyes. Like, don't move your eyes. Like, this shit is like inside of your fucking head. Like, what is going on right now? And me as a child, I don't know nothing about like a fucking lobotomy or whatever this could have been. I don't know. And once that was over, the machine got pulled back out. And they went on to, they were touching on my skin again. Just like touching on my arms and my legs and stuff. And I don't know exactly what they were doing when they were doing that. And then it was this next part that like I've never heard anything like this in anybody's experiences before, but they laid me on my stomach, and there was a screen that I could see, and on that screen was my back that they were looking at, and they put all this green gooey stuff on my back, and then I watched them cut it open with a laser, like a book. Like, this is my back, and they cut it like this. And then they fucking peeled it back. They peeled it back. And it was just, I could see my spine and my ribs and my organs. And then I kind of fainted after that because I was in disbelief, and I don't know what they did. I don't know what they did on that part. But I just remember seeing it, and I was so freaked out because I didn't know what they were doing to me. And after that, I woke up. And I woke up in my bedroom, and I got up out of my room as fast as I could, and I ran to my brother, and I started hyperventilating, and I fainted, and I told him what happened, and he told me he believed me, and he told me not to tell my mom because she wouldn't believe me, and she didn't for a long time. up until these recent years where my nieces started saying they were seeing green men, and she's heard the story of my uncle and my grandparents and everything, and her UFO encounters, and she was like, it kind of makes sense. What do you think? Was it a dream?
I believe her. I wholeheartedly believe her because it just matches up with like other things I've heard, other stories I've heard, and like even for me personally, it's like as she speaks, it's like I don't know, I just have like different things that's coming to my mind. So it's like I believe her. So what do you think? Do you believe her? Well, friends, thanks for watching this with me. Once again, I enjoy your company. So I'm so looking forward to watching other videos with you. Bye for now.
In the forest deep and green, fairies dance like shadows seen.